Haitian President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated early Wednesday in his home on the outskirts of the country's capital city. The First Lady was also wounded in the attack. The Haitian embassy released a statement saying the killing was a, quote, well-coordinated attack by a highly trained and heavily armed group. CBS News' Ben Tracy has more.
The attackers, seen here approaching the president's residence in trucks, apparently pretended to be agents of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration in order to get past security guards. The gunman broke into the home of Haiti's president early this morning. Then shots are fired. They assassinated the 53-year-old Haitian leader, Jovenel Moïse, and also shot his wife, Martine. She survived. Vehicles and walls outside the compound were riddled with bullets. Haiti's interim prime minister, Claude Joseph, called the attack a coup and said the gunmen were speaking English and Spanish. He claims the country's security is now under control.
I was awakened at 3 o'clock in the morning by gunshots, heavy gunshots.
Magali Noel Dress is a business owner in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince.
What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Everybody is very worried about the security because, one, the head of state is gunned down. Anybody could go down. The streets are empty. Nobody's out. This is very heavy.
Haiti has been in turmoil for months as President Moïse became increasingly unpopular for clinging to power after his term expired. There are now fears of more violence.
You need a lot more information, but it's very worrisome about the state of Haiti.
Especially for those living there, wondering what might come next. Ben Tracy, CBS News.
For more on this, I'm joined by Dánica Coto. She's a Caribbean correspondent for the Associated Press. Dánica, President Moïse had held the office since February 2017. Describe for us his time in office and how he was perceived by Haitians.
Well, he was off to a rocky start. He was first won the presidential vote in 2015. It was later thrown out amid fraud allegations. There was an interim president. And then in November 2016, he won the vote, albeit with a 21% turnout. He promised changes, but Haiti has grown increasingly unstable under his leadership. There was deepening political and economic instability, and the power of gangs have grown substantially, especially in recent weeks. He also has been ruling by decree for more than a year, and taking measures that some have viewed as a grab for more power.
Well, Dánica, if you would, what more can you tell us about who might be behind this assassination, and talk to us a little bit about the current situation in Haiti and what could have potentially led up to this?
There's very little information at this point, including who might have ordered the assassination, who financed it. The Prime Minister, Claude Joseph, has described it as a highly trained and heavily armed group who carried it out. But there's still, so many unanswered questions. One expert I spoke with said that he doesn't see anybody really benefiting from assassinating the president, including the opposition, whom he said the Jovenel Moïse united them. So it's very unclear at this point what's happening next. Who might do another grab for power, who had the money to do something like this. And I think we'll see that play out in a couple of days, weeks, although some experts have told me that they might never, see the answers to those questions.
Really? Well, Haiti's interim prime minister, Claude Joseph, appears to be in charge for now. Will there be an election for the people of Haiti to choose a more permanent leader, or one that's at least elected to that position?
Sure. The Prime Minister, Claude Joseph, told the AP that he does or would like to see elections held as scheduled later this year, with the first runoff in September and the second one in November. However, he did stress that he wants everybody to come to the table. He wants opposition leaders. He wants allies of former President Jovenel Moïse to come to the table and to be able to work together and sort of come to a consensus and sort of lead Haiti into what he called a new path. Again, that remains to be seen. Haiti is in a quite difficult situation, not only, with the instability economically and politically, but also the Constitution states that the second in line to replace the president would be the president of Haiti's Supreme Court. That man recently died from COVID-19. So it's still unclear whether Claude Joseph really will be the person in charge going forward. We spoke with the designated Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, and he said that he was the Prime Minister in office. So behind closed doors, it's unclear what's going on. For now, Joseph, quickly took control of the situation, issued a statement shortly after the assassination, and held a press conference declaring a 2-week state of siege.
And finally, Dánica, what does President Moïse's assassination mean for the future of Haiti?
That's a great question, and many wonder about that. For now, the streets are very quiet. Public transportation is very scarce. Many businesses are closed. People are still trying to find places to buy food and water. And it's unclear. It all depends on how smoothly this transition might go. One important factor to consider are the gangs. Most of them have long been financed by certain politicians and their allies, as well as the private sector. And they've grown increasingly powerful in recent weeks. They displaced more than 14,700 people last month alone. And so it remains to be seen, what role they might play, if any, in the upcoming days as Haiti tries to regain its balance.
All right. Dánica Coto, thank you.
Thank you very much.